and Street Circuit Racing edition of the IMSA Podcast alongside Zachary Taylor. I am Daniel Voiles. We're excited to talk about the St. Pete weekend and get over a little bit of IMSA news, if we have any, from last week or from last time at Daytona to this week. And then we're going to preview the 12 Hours of Sebring coming up this weekend. And as I said, we're alongside of Zachary Taylor.
Yay!
I think, yeah, we've been having a derpathon just before we came on the air. I don't know why. If you want to know why, you can look at the funny quotes tab by the time you're watching this portion of our show. But anyway, second attempt. Let's talk about this weekend's races we got at the. Let's talk about this weekend's races at St. Pete for the VP Sports Car Challenge that replaced the Prototype Challenge. So let's talk about St. Pete, which, if you want a full description of the St. Pete weekend, the rest of St. Pete weekend, Zachary Taylor, myself, and Sean Art will be with me for Triple P tomorrow as of this program. So I hope you'll join us for that. So let's talk about the races, Taylor, as we're going to go over the results. Jagger Jones ended up sweeping the St. Petersburg weekend. He ended up winning the race. Second in race one was Stephen Akanahani. I think that's how it's pronounced. Jonathan Woolridge finished third. Ryan Finney got fourth. Fifth was Miko Scholitz. Sixth, Miguel Villagomez. Seventh was Brian Thiens. Alex Kirby eighth. Cody Ware finished in ninth. And then in race two was Jagger Jones, who swept the weekend. Cody Ware, Alex Kirby did not take the start, so there was only 7 finishers. Miguel Villagomez got second. Brian Thiens third. Fourth was Ryan Feeney. Fifth, Jonathan Woolridge. Sixth was Stephen Akanani, who was the points leader going into race two. And Miko Scholitz was the last driver to finish. And as I said, Alex Kirby and Cody Ware did not take the start in race two. Stephen Akanami still leads the Drivers' Championship. Their next race will be at Mid-Ohio. The GSX Drivers results, there were 15 of them, so we'll do the top 10 results as always. Jesse Lazar swept the weekend, winning both races. Jackson Lee finished second in both races. Finishing third in race number one was Luca Mars. Fourth, Michael Dayton. Fifth was Sean Quinlan. Finishing in the sixth position was Scott Blind. Seventh was Mark Brahman. Eighth, if I can find eighth place, that was Thomas Collingwood. Ninth was Angus Rogers. And 10th, rounding up the top 10, was Eddie Keelan. Finishing third in race two was Gregory Lifugoli. Fourth was, who finished fourth? Oh, Luca Mars, the points leader. Patrick Wilmot finished fifth. Sixth was Michael Dayton. Seventh, Angus Rogers. Finishing eighth was Jason Bell. Finishing in ninth was Scott Blind. And completing the top 10 was Thomas Collingwood. Luca Mars, still your points leader as we go to Mid-Ohio. So, Mr. Taylor, your thoughts on the St. Pete weekend, the IMSA drivers?
Definitely was a pretty interesting weekend for IMSA. Definitely really interesting, and definitely it was a pretty adventurous set of races for sure there. And but overall, looked like the racing was pretty good. So definitely looked like a good weekend there for IMSA.
Yeah, definitely was a very good weekend, and if if that race was any indication, I'm really excited to see what happens next when we head to our next race. That would be Mid Ohio. And as I said, for a much further discussion on this weekend's event from St. Pete, as I said, Zachary Taylor, Sean Hart, and myself will be here for for Triple P. That'll be coming up tomorrow, so which we hope you'll join us for that. It should be a fun topic to discuss. What would you rate St. Pete for the IMSA drivers, the VP Sports Car Challenge drivers, to be more specific?
I will. I'll give it an 8.
I too will give it an 8. I thought it was good racing. Funny thing was, I watched the races yesterday, or last night before I went to bed. The racing was really good. I thought some very good racing on the street circuit, and I can't wait for our next races at Mid Ohio, which will not be until the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship goes to Mid Ohio. Which, as a matter of fact, let me see, when will that be? If I could pull up the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. We have some breaking news, by the way, we're going to address in just a second. So don't freak out as far as that is concerned. That will not be the Mid Ohio race. Is actually going to be. If I'm going to actually pull it up here. The Mid Ohio race weekend will not be until June, Taylor. So we have a long time until we talk about the prototypes, the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge. So that's a long way from now. So that'll be something we'll talk about when we get to that. So they're going to be off for the rest of March, April, May, and they'll be back in early June. So yes. Let's talk about some IMSA news, and also actually, we're not going to document this because, well, we're just going to leave it on this news. Chip Ganassi Racing and Cadillac are set to part ways following the 2024 World Endurance and IMSA seasons. It just got revealed today, as of this taping. Chip Ganassi Racing and Cadillac are set to part ways following the 2024 World Endurance and IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship seasons. It got revealed. The partnership, which began in the DPI rankings of the WeatherTech in 2021, extended into the LMDH era last year for the factory Cadillac V Series .R, which is running in both World Endurance and WeatherTech championships. So, Mr. Taylor, your reaction to this move?
Well, definitely, I think that's a big surprise. Definitely, really big shocking move there. Definitely, I don't think anybody saw that coming for sure. So, well, you like that.
Oh, I'm so glad that's on the stream. But in all seriousness, go on, Taylor. You were talking about this was a shocking move.
I can't remember what I was saying next after the dog interrupted me. Come on, shit that dog to Burlington. Back on topic here.
Oh, shit.
But it'll be interesting to see what does happen with Chip Ganassi Racing now. If they leave IMSA or go to a different manufacturer. So definitely that'll be interesting.
Well, the thing I would probably say is, I'm really, disappointed to hear the news, with Cadillac and them parting ways. But you got a full season ahead of you, so I mean, it's not going to end until like I said, um, next next season. I mean, but to your point, who is it going to be? Who is it going to be going into what manufacturer they're going to have? So that's something we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. So should be interesting. Let's see here. Um, Wonder if we have any other IMSA news, or if that is the only IMSA news. This could be a short episode, believe it or not. Let's see here. I think here. Let's see. Okay, that's not. Okay, that's kind of old news there. I don't know if we have any other news. I could be wrong. Let me see. News. Oh, here's some news I found. Let's see. Lamborghini's newest bull is ready to rage with GTP debut at Sebring. Lamborghini joins the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship Grand Touring Prototype, that would be the GTP, class battle at one of the biggest parties of the season, the Mobile One 12 Hours of Sebring, this weekend. The Italian manufacturer will do battles with Acura, BMW, Cadillac, Porsche, the Corvette, the manufacturers that premiered their LMDH specification cars at last year's Rolex 24 at Daytona, and now in their second year of competition. The Lamborghini SC63 was formally unveiled at the Goodwin Festival of Speed last July in England, where IMSA President John Dewan joined key stakeholders in attendance. Thoughts on that, Mr. Taylor?
Well, that is definitely interesting. Be interesting to see how the Lambos do over there. And definitely, I think they could be pretty successful over there for sure.
Really excited to see how this team's going to do. And of course, Lamborghini has won 10 WeatherTech races, all in GTD, and 6 Michelin Endurance Cup, with 4 teams from Paul and Miller Racing, who won 5 from 2018 to 2021, GRT, which is Grasser Racing Team, from 2018 through 2019, Change Racing won in 2017, Fort Racing won last year, Iron Links with entries in both GTP and GT Daytona Pro and or Iron Dames could add their name to the list of Lamborghini's winning squads in the WeatherTech Championship this season. So that's going to be interesting to see how that will play out. Of course, I should point out the race will begin at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Peacock, with USA Network having the coverage at 4 p.m. through the race finish, which we're definitely looking forward to that. So we'll be going back and forth between the truck race at Bristol and this race. And as I said, if you want to get a further discussion on the Bristol truck race, we will talk about that tomorrow on Triple P at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's see here. Any other news that we have? I do have the entry list. There are 58 drivers racing this weekend for the 12 Hours of Sebring. This is like the pre-entry list. We have 11 GTPs, which would be the Grand Touring prototypes. The LMP2s have 13. GT Daytona Pro has 12. And there are 22 GT Daytona cars on the entry list. So with that said, Mr. Taylor, let's talk about this weekend's races coming up at this weekend's races we got coming up for the 12 Hours of Sebring. Of course, we are looking forward to that race. You could catch the Mazda MX-5 Cup race on Thursday, the first of 2 races, at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the IMSA TV. You can also catch the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, their first race of two, at 450. They'll be on 455 on Peacock. Lamborghini Super Trofeo, you can catch their first race of two, also at 5:50 Eastern Standard Time. And then also the race will be broadcasted on Peacock. Then we have Friday, the second race of the Mazda MX-5 Cup. You can catch that at 11:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have IMSA WeatherTech qualifying available globally. That will start at 12:15 Eastern Standard Time. It will also be live on Peacock. The Michelin Pilot Challenge will be in action. You can catch the Alan J. Automotive Network 120 at 3:10 Eastern Standard Time on Peacock. Race 2 of the Lamborghini Trofeo, you can catch that at 6 p.m. Eastern Time with the Porsche Carrera Cup North America's second race at 7:10 Eastern Standard Time, as well as on Peacock. And then Saturday, the big race. All on Peacock, which they will call the entire race. You can catch the Mobile One 12 Hours of Sebring presented by Cadillac at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It will also be on the IMSA TV and also the broadcast on USA Network as well. And then on March 23rd will be the television program of the Alan J. Automotive 120 on CNBC, as well as the Lamborghini Super Trofeo at Sebring as well. So there you go. So Taylor, what's your thoughts going into this weekend's events at Sebring with let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 classes racing this weekend, or 5 series for IMSA this weekend?
That sounds like a really an interesting weekend with 5 series racing. But definitely going to be interesting to see how the Sebring weekend goes, and definitely drivers are going to have to be paying attention while they're out there on the track, because there's some corners that Sebring that can be really tricky. So definitely, I think it'll be a good weekend though.
I think, one of the big things about this track is that Sunset Bend, that last corner, that corner is going to be unforgiving with the bumps, which upsets the cars. And I can tell you, one wrong move on the bumps, and you're asking for a massive crash. So, these drivers need to be careful, and doing that for 12 hours, that's going to be really a tricky one, if you know what I mean.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, Mr. Taylor, let's do our keys to the race, brought to you by our friends at Hershey's. Hershey's is the proud sponsor of the IMSA Podcast. So, Mr. Taylor, what is your keys to the race? We'll do your key and then my key, and then we'll go from there.
I think staying on course is going to be key, because with all those bumps and everything, and with a few of those corners being really close together, and drivers having to really get on the brakes a few times there potentially, definitely you don't want to go sailing into the corner like a maniac. So I think the drivers are going to have to be alert to what's going on around them with the other drivers, and but definitely getting through those corners and not crashing out when they're going over them bumps is going to be something to keep an eye on.
Traffic is going to play a major factor, because, you got 5 different series, but I can tell you the MX-5 Cup, if it's anything like what we saw back at Daytona in January with them bump drafting on the straightaways, it's going to be a game of chess match, who's going to win that race and all that. So I think we're definitely looking forward to see how that will play out. as far as that is concerned. But should be a fun series, if you ask me.
Okay.
Let me see there. Let me look at the calendar here. Now that we're talking about uh, Tafio. Yeah, we'll mention about the. Okay, so here's their schedule. This is the schedule for the Lamborghini. This is their season opener at 12, as I said, at the 12 Hours of Sebring. Their next race will be at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca from May 10th to the 12th. Watkins Glen from June 20th to the 22nd. August 31st through September 1st, they'll be at Circuit of the Americas, and then their season finale will be at Indianapolis from September 20th to the 22nd. So that's something we're definitely looking forward to. The Porsche Carrera Cup, as far as their schedule is concerned, don't be afraid to jump in, Taylor. What's your thoughts on that schedule, by the way? The schedule I just went over with you.
Definitely, I think it'll be interesting to see how successful those Lambos will be in those races, and definitely, I think they can definitely be a pretty successful team given some of their previous success in IMSA.
Oh yeah, here is the Porsche Cup championship for the IMSA. Their season opener, as I said, will be at Sebring. They'll be at Miami, which we'll talk more about that later this year, as they will be at the Miami Ultradome. They'll be at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal for race 3. Round 4, they'll be at Watkins Glen. So we will have an IMSA podcast regarding about that series. They'll be racing at Watkins Glen, as I mentioned. They'll go to Road America from August 2nd through the 4th. Indianapolis Motor Speedway from September 20th through the 22nd. And then they will finish their season at, or actually they have Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta in October. And then COTA from October 18th through the 20th. And that is their season. So your thoughts on the schedule for the Porsche Carrera Cup?
Well, definitely that is an interesting schedule. Definitely there is some really good tracks on that schedule. So definitely I think that'll be a good fun set of races.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see how they will do. Of course, some of these tracks that on the schedule, like Miami and Montreal, are a part of the F1 weekends, which we'll discuss more on that on Triple P tomorrow. All right, Mr. Taylor, any final thoughts before we get this Sebring party started?
Well, I think if we see racing like we did back at the last races there, I think we're going to be in for a fun weekend, definitely.
Definitely, it's going to be a fun weekend if you ask me as far as that's concerned. Let's take a look at this week's upcoming Blue Hedgehog events here on the channel. Tomorrow, as I said, as of this taping, will be Triple P. We're going to talk about the Phoenix weekend with Taylor and Sean. We're going to talk about the top story news, get you a preview of Sao Paulo as Formula E is back from their 6-week break. The trucks are back as they're going to go short track racing at Bristol with the Cup Series, which we can't wait for a good race weekend as far as that is concerned. So we're definitely looking forward to that. So that is tomorrow, as I said, at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Hope you'll join us for that. And don't forget, next Monday is going to be a double header of fun. First, we'll probably record this on Sunday, or by the time you're watching this episode, Taylor and I have not confirmed what day we're going to record the next episode of the IMSA podcast, which obviously will be next week. It'll probably be a late night Monday, next Monday, 11 o'clock Eastern time, but we'll have to wait and see what Taylor wants to do for recording day. We're going to talk about the St. Pete, or not St. Pete, Sebring weekend, easy for me to say. Okay, I've had a long day at work as of this recording, and I'm going to say something off the air that I'm not going to say on the air that could offend some people. But we're going to recap all of the races, and our next IMSA race will be April 20th. That'll be our next race. That'll be our first sprint race from Long Beach. We're going to go to California Dreamin', Taylor. You excited about Long Beach coming up next week, which we're going to talk about. I don't think any other series will be racing, so it'll just be the GT classes that'll be racing at Long Beach. So we're definitely looking forward to that. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this next episode 2 of the 2024 IMSA Podcast season. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us for that. If you guys like this episode, be sure to give it a like. If you haven't considered subscribing yet, I highly recommend you do so in order to keep up with some wonderful content coming out in the near future, as well as future episodes of your favorite podcasts coming out throughout the rest of this week and onward to the next. On behalf of Mr. Zachary Taylor and Dina Boyles, thank you for joining us for the IMSA Podcast. We'll see you guys next week as we're going to preview Long Beach. Until then, you've been watching another broadcast of PCS Free TV, the best in our racing since 2017. And Zachary Taylor, I got one more thing to tell you. You're ready to hear this? We survived another episode of this awesome program. We'll see you tomorrow for Triple P. Until then, so long, everybody.